What's up, guys? This is Automotive Anonymous, and that's the 2023 Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition in its launch color, Geyser Blue. Not to be confused with Geyser Blue, which sounds like an old person who's turning hypoxic. That would not be good. However, this Forester, it was borrowed by Twin Falls Subaru in Southern Idaho. I'll link it below. They're good people to work with. Otherwise, what I do are reviews, 0-60s, and other cool stuff. So we're going to do a walk around, go through the specs, the ins and the outs. Gonna take it on its initial driving impressions, do a 0-60 with GPS, and then give you the final thoughts to see if it's worth your time and money. And if you enjoy my content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate every single one of you. Otherwise, guys, let's get right to it. It's in the 5th generation that started in 2019. The base Forester would start at about $26,000, but this Wilderness, it's the 4th of the 6 trim levels, meaning it starts at about $34,000, but it has the optional package that includes the 8-inch screen, the Harman Kardon speakers, which sound fantastic, and a couple little other odds and ends, which make this an overall great package for about $38,000. It has the 2.5 Boxster, I'll show you in just a little bit, and it's very capable being in the Wilderness family. That means 9.2 inches of ground clearance, skid plate on the front, roughly 6 feet wide, 5.5 feet tall, and about 15 feet long. So it's similar in length to a Crosstrek and about a foot less than the Outback, if those are rivals you're comparing it to. It has a 225/60/17 all-terrain tire. It's more of a mild all-terrain. I have the same tire set up on my Outback Wilderness. It's held up fantastically over 20,000 miles. It's a really good offering. Of course, you got the Subaru cladding throughout. It's not going to leave the factory without that. But on this model, it looks pretty good. These get about 25 city, 28 highway, so with a 16.6 gallon tank, you're good for about 460 miles on a highway excursion. Has a full-size spare in the back, I'll show you shortly. And overall, it's fantastic. There's a reason why North America Subaru sells about 154 to 180,000 of these every single year in the US. It weighs about 3,500 pounds, or the equivalent of 5 of these big boy Zebras. And with a 4.11 final drive ratio in the rear end, it can tow about 3,000 pounds. So it's quite capable. Let's go inside, get out of the wind, and see what the interior looks like. On the door panel, we of course have StarTex, Subaru's carbon fiber type of theme throughout. Really wide grab handle. So even if you have 8 to 10 fingers, I think you're gonna fit pretty well. It has a lip to grab, which is really convenient. You could also store some pennies in there. And then the door pocket, it's pretty average for this size. You could fit a bottle, maybe a tube of sunscreen, you know, some Pam spray if you're going camping, maybe a little box of toothpicks, and then 2 wide Pop-Tarts hidden in the back where the kids can't see them and the dog can't smell them. Harman Kardon speakers, they are fantastic. I do really like these. And then the babyest size Subaru on the door sill plate that they could find. Aluminum pedals, fantastic offering. Fuse box, all of your options right here. Ventilation, trip reset, powered seats. These StarTex are awesome. They hold up really well. I have about 22,000 on my Outback Wilderness, and I really like these. A lot of people actually like these more than leather because of the water repellent, water resistance, and just how well the bolstering has stayed. Let's get inside it, fire it up. Push button start, of course, right there. Steering wheel should look really familiar if you've seen any of my other videos, or if you know the Subaru current generation. You have the paddles down here, toggle for volume. You have sport mode, intelligent mode right there. And let's go through the offerings. Let's see what's inside the center display. You got a couple goodies right there. It's been idling a lot, that's why the MPG is what it is. And then the bigger upper screen is through the info right there. Many safety features on this, making it a top safety pick plus. It's a really good offering. There's that 8-inch screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Down here, you have a 12-volt USBs and aux. Kind of like a piano black around the shifter. Looks really good if you want to play around, do some musical simulated gears. You pop that puppy over to manual mode, and then you got the paddles behind the wheel. Down here you have snow, dirt, deep snow and mud, so it's the 2-stage. automatic electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, front mount camera which goes to the top screen. I definitely like the bigger size on my Outback Wilderness, but the clarity of this one looks pretty good, and it does look like a full 180 degrees. Couple cup holders. You have Post-its and some small pens you could fit in there, maybe some Tootsie Rolls. And then a narrow but deep center console with a 12 volt in there. Pretty good. Up top, you have HomeLink, you have the electronic compass, and you have auto dimming mirrors on the reverse and the side. Up here, glasses holder. You have settings for the sunroof. And it is just fantastic. We're gonna close that back up though. That is one thing I wish my Outback had, was that ginormous sunroof, moonroof. Yeah, well, let's turn off the car. Let's hop in the back. See how we fit behind ourselves in the back seat of the Forester. Door panel, really nice star text. You of course have the tag so you don't forget that you are in a special model. Again, a 10-finger handle and pretty good size for the back seat. You can see there's not a lot of room outside of it in the design. You got the speaker and you got your bottle and some snacks. Subaru right there on the door sill. You could probably step on that, get a little bit of traction when you're messing around with those 700-pound rated roof rails with the copper accents. They look fantastic. Star text throughout, easy to drop, the 60/40 split. And sitting behind herself at 5'11", that's probably 6 inches of room, 5 inches, something like that. It's very spacious. I have a really nice view of the cabin. That'd be really fun to ride in the back of one of these. I don't have heated seats, but I do have ventilation and some USB plugins. And I can be the backseat driver, so I can tell these people up here what I want, where I want to go. Chauffeur me. Got a couple cup holders in the center armrest. It feels sturdy. You could push on it a little bit with no fear of breaking that. But let's hop around the back, see what it looks like in the hatch. Up top, you can see the button. We do have the pin code, so watch my video on how to set that if you're unfamiliar. It's a really cool feature. You can get in and out without the keys. And then we have about 30 cubic feet of storage back here. If we decide to drop the seats, we have about 75, so you can car camp back here. You can do a lot of cool things. Back here we do have some of the Wilderness package, protective lining, a little bit of cubby behind the rear wheel well. You have a 12 volts and bag spots, a few light tie downs. Over here you got the Harman Kardon sub, a few more tie downs, another seat dropper, and then we have a full-size spare underneath, which is a pretty cool feature. You could fit maybe a blanket, some recovery straps, things like that. But you got all your tools, your eye bolt hole, all the goodies down there. And if you want to hide the sun privacy shade, that fits in the slots and you can just go along. One touch to drop. You can also lock the car from there. Single tip exhaust on this 2.5 liter. Good departure angle. Let's check on our backseat passenger. And they're doing just fine. Comfortable top safety picks, so you know they're in good shape. Double map pocket with the pan flit holder. Very cool. Door panel looks fantastic. Subaru Wilderness, don't forget. You don't pay the premium to forget what you're driving, right? If you're riding shotgun, is there enough storage for a shotgun? Probably not. Maybe a slingshot, maybe a shepherd sling down there. Otherwise, giant door panel. Just a few less controls for the passenger than the driver. Harman Kardon on the door. Baby size Subaru. No power options though. You just get manual. You get the bar to slide and the recline handle. Subaru stamped on the headrest. It looks really good. And then lock and glove box. Decent size, but I don't see any 12 volts in there like the Outback has. All right, guys, let's go around, pop the hood, and see what we have to work with. Under the hood, we have a lot of goodies. We have the windshield washer reservoir, the coolant reservoir, top mount oil filter, 0W20 synthetic oil fill, the battery, positive terminal, negative terminal, and then a nice big plastic cover with some heat extracting right there to show you that you're driving a Subaru Boxer, baby. Got the serpentine belt right up front. Don't stick your fingers in there. You don't want to lose those in the engine bay. They're going to be hard to find, especially this time of year. Oil dipstick, ventilation through the grill, through the filter, through the tubing, to then go down the horizontally opposed boxer. And there's a decent amount of room to work on if you ever had to do anything under the hood. So, not too bad. Let's drop the hood, take it for a drive. Let's hop in the belly of this beast and see what it can do. Time to teleport. Initial driving impressions of the 23 Forester Wilderness is it's really good. Visibility is of course fantastic, being that streamlined Subaru design. Most of their cars are engineered very similarly. Just makes sense when you have a good design, roll with it. Seating position in the Forester I do like more than the Outback, where it's more SUV styled, more upright. It feels really good. Sound protrusion into the cabin is really nice. The Forester I'd say is similar to the Outback in how much sound deadening there is, which is much better than the Impreza, Crosstrek, and WRX. Power to get up to speed around town it's an easy thing to do. I would say though, if you're in the mountains, if you're towing, if you're, having the vehicle loaded down frequently, you may want the power that one of the turbo Subarus offer. I'll show you the 0 to 60 in just a couple minutes, but sneak peek, the turbo does it in about 2.5 seconds faster in the same environment than this, which is substantial. But otherwise, it's a very comfortable position. I have the heated seats on. They feel great on the back. Subaru heated seats aren't as good as some of the other brands, but they do the job, and I think they're going to be as strong as most people want them to be. The armrest feels great. It's firm, but it holds your arm in place. It's not uncomfortable. Center console feels great too. Cup holders are out of the way. Shifter is just, a slight drop in elevation. It's easy to get to if you need it, but otherwise it's not blocking your arm if you talk with your hands. If you need them to be out and about, you're going to be okay in this car. You of course have all of your other features down there, which are easy to get to in a pinch if you're in adverse climate. Brakes are great. I've barely had to get on them at all. Being, the vehicle weighs well under 4,000 pounds, it really doesn't take a whole lot to stop it. And that Harman Kardon upgraded system, it sounds really good. It makes me remember and realize what I'm missing in my regular speakers in the Outback. Sounds fantastic. I've had the Rockford Fosgate system when that was offered back in the Crosstrek days a few years ago, and that was a good system, but this Harman Kardon is definitely a step up. The depth to it is fantastic for being a stock vehicle. Gonna give it a little bit of gas. Very responsive with those 411 gears. Down low, it puts the torque down. It's very manageable. Being about a foot shorter than the Outback and having 9.2 inches of ground clearance, it's honestly probably as good or better for departure angle, approach angle, breakover point, things like that. So it's very well mannered. It feels very confidence inspiring, and it's just such a smooth ride with that Subaru suspension. You have good sidewall on these all-terrain Geolandar tires. I've really enjoyed them on mine. In my most recent update on the Outback Wilderness, I had a 20,000 mile update just around Thanksgiving time, and they're holding up really well. They do fantastic in the winter, and at 20,000 miles on a similarly weighted vehicle, I still had like 10-30 seconds of tread, which is not bad at all. The cab is spacious. The sunroof is fantastic. If it wasn't raining off and on this week, we would have that open. We'd be enjoying it. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite features of the Forester. You also know exactly where the angles of the car are. You can see pretty much where the hood waterfalls down and drops. Side mirrors are fantastic. You can see you have the turn signal on the left and the blind spot monitoring on the right side of it. Just a really nice place to be. All right, let's get to our 0 to 60. Let's see what it can do. 0 to 60 in the Wilderness. Traction control's off. We're gonna brake rev it. It's about 3,400 feet of density altitude today. So the vehicle's down in power about 12%. I'll verbalize the 0 to 60 and then I'll post a GPS graph after. The bottom left corner will show without the foot of rollout. That's the way it's rated by the magazine. Let's see what it can do. CVT's holding like it should. Sounds really good. And true, 0 to 60 came in at 9.49 seconds. Given our density altitude, that's really not that bad. And with the 411 rear end, you can really feel it doesn't bog down on launch. Let's get to our final thoughts. Final thoughts of the 23 Wilderness Forester is I really like these. If it had the turbo, personally, I'd probably own one over my Outback. That's just how good they are. They feel great driving down the road. Seating position is fantastic. And the look, this is one of the first Foresters that I have really enjoyed the exterior perspective of it. It's such a good looking vehicle, especially in Geyser Blue. And they're priced pretty affordably. You could get a really loaded one like this with really good speakers, cameras, capability, cargo capacity, and it's still well under 40,000. It's roughly 10,000 less than the average new vehicle. Isn't that crazy? Remember, I'll link it below. And if you guys like my content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. There's new stuff coming out weekly. Take care, guys. I'll see you on the next one.